on Fantasy 5, it's Lord of the Rings versus Harry Potter. This is the podcast where we, the noise next door, create five-a-side football teams using characters from fiction, history, and real life. These teams will then battle it out on the pitch to see who will be crowned victorious. I'm Sam, and today I am joined by Matt. We are this week's pundits.
That's right, Sam. It's our job to provide criticism and insight into the manager's lineups, and later we'll be in charge of the highlights from today's fixture.
Today we have managers Tom and Robin. They will be picking the teams. So Tom, you're the home side. Who have you got?
I am delighted to say that I am the manager of Team Lord of the Rings. I've been a Lord of the Rings fan forever. I'm pumped.
And Robin, who do you have?
Well, with equal glee, I can announce that I am managing Harry Potter Football Club today, and I'm also pumped.
They say they're pumped. They don't sound it, but that's because they're keeping the excitement deep within.
A lot of inner pumping.
A quick spoiler warning, as ever, we will try and focus mainly on the footballing prowess of Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, but if you're not massively familiar with these particular worlds, there will be big spoilers coming up. Also, please head to iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts and rate and review us with a stonking 5-0 lead. That's 5 stars. Now, without further ado, let's hear the starting 5. Tom, let's kick right off with the Lord of the Rings. Who is your very first pick in your side?
Sam, my first pick for Lord of the Rings, FC, for me it was an obvious pick. It's my goalkeeper, and that is Shelob the Mighty Spider. If you've seen the films, you'll remember the massive spider. That's who's in goal. It's Shelob. And not really a spider, but actually a demon in spider form. She's an absolute beast, literally. And look, main tactic here is going to be she's just going to web up the whole goal and generally the area, you know? It's going to be an absolute minefield, not literal mines, more actual spider webs. I just feel that she's going to be stopping anyone trying to make it through the area. Also, she got 8 legs. And if you put a goalkeeper glove on the end of each one of them, that's just more goalkeeping, more fun.
Do you worry about the cost of kit? 8 gloves is quite a lot more than just the normal 2 that you would have.
Yeah, as I understand it, most professional football clubs can only afford 1 pair of gloves. So I am aware that it's gonna cost a lot more to kit Shelob, but it's a cost I'm willing to swallow because of her dexterity and her reach.
There's obviously a lot of you saying she's going to be firing webs all over the place.
Yeah,
like a minefield of webs. Do the other people on your team, are they going to get stuck to that as well, or do they have some kind of a lubricant?
Well, she's going to cover the close area around the goal. You know, the sort of the little box. What is it? 9-yard box? How big's the box?
12.
12-yard box. She's going to cover the 12-yard box in the webs and just the whole goal. And then the defenders can play just in the rest of the area. I just feel like no one's getting through this. Unless they've got a magical sword, which I doubt they do.
I guess the opposing Harry Potter team might not have much magic to deal with this.
Right, well, yeah, that's a good point, but I've got no answer to that.
I like this. It's a similar tactic to the Marvel team that we had. We had a spider in goal there. This time we have a literal spider.
Yes.
And I believe she has the power as well, doesn't she? She's got a stinger, right?
Yeah, she's unusual for a spider. She's got a stinger with a paralysing venom. And if there's a bit of, muscling up in the box, lining up for a corner, if there's a bit of pushing and shoving, someone's suddenly paralysed. I wonder what happened. It was Shelob's little stinger. Bang.
Nice, yeah. You should never turn your back on a fight, but in her case, if she turns her back on a fight, she's going to start jabbing people with a bum stinger.
Exactly.
Genius.
Bum for win.
I like it. I think it's a very good shout for an initial keeper. Who have you got in front of her?
So in defence, I've only got 1 defender. I only need 1 defender. It is Gandalf. You shall not pass into the box when Gandalf's on defence. Obviously, Gandalf, the big wizard. It's Ian McKellen if you've seen the films. It's Gandalf if you've read the books. His tackles always arrive exactly when he means them to. He's a great defender as well. He protects people. That's his main bag. And he's got a surprising burst of pace. All he needs to do is summon Shadowfax, and boom, off he goes down the wing. Gandalf is my defender, a protector of people, a protector of the realm, protector of my goal. Thoughts?
Shadowfax, presumably a horse?
Yeah, Shadowfax is the white horse. Again, not really a horse, but like a spirit, the spirit of speed. And and Gandalf can summon Shadowfax to his aid, and he can then ride it off down the pitch.
That sounds good. And we actually established in the first podcast that accessories are allowed, and a spirit horse totally counts as an accessory.
Yeah, I think so.
A spirit horse, that's an accessory, is it? Like a handbag? We're likening a horse to a... Okay, good. It's just good to know the rules going into the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea. It's good to clarify who Shadowfax is, because Shadowfax could just be the name of a person, and then you've just got a wizard riding some dude down the wing.
Yeah, or just a very hard-to-read fax from the 80s.
So are we worried? Speaking of the 80s, are we worried about his age? Here, it's quite old.
Okay, what you're doing is judging Ian McKellen's age, and of course Ian McKellen's an old man, but Gandalf is like 3,000 years old.
I know, that's old.
But what I'm saying is, he can go to 5,000 years old, right? He's not just some dude. He's super duper old. It's what I'm getting is the wisdom. I'm getting the wisdom of all those years of the game. And do you know what? If you're worried about him dying, if he does go down, he's just going to come back in the second half in an even brighter kit. Gandalf the White, baby!
You've done your research.
He's shouting, "You shall not pass," as the game's going on. Are we worried that any of his players are going to think that this is them not being allowed to pass?
It's a good point. I think we'll have discussed it beforehand, and if Gandalf's might, he can direct it. You know, when he tells the Balrog that he shall not pass, it's not like everyone else stops running, is it? He's focused. He's got laser precision with his "you shall not pass" instructions.
That's very good. And, of course, his Shakespearean tone.
Exactly.
His delivery's perfect.
So, Gandalf's my defender. I feel pretty chuffed with it.
Very good, yeah. What else you got?
In midfield, I'm bringing in a ringer. The literal ringer, the Lord of the Ringers, the Dark Lord Sauron. So if you've seen the films or read the books, you'll be aware of Sauron. He's the big bad guy. And I'm taking him from at the beginning of the films when he's in full battle armor. He's got his mace. He's wielding the Ring of Power. He's an absolute monster in the middle of the park, swatting people back. He is almost unstoppable, right? And his massive, unblinking eye is always on the ball. Utterly dominant in the middle of the pack. I just think who can stand up to Sauron?
Sounds really good.
You say he's unstoppable. He does. I'm worried that he's susceptible to injury. I believe in that opening package that his hand is sliced off, and therefore the ring falls off. So he can't even continue, I'd understand it if it was a leg, but you should be able to play on. Let's think about the iconic images of English football. Players Terry Butcher with a bandage around his head. But does Sauron just give up after his hand is sliced off?
Yeah, it is a massive weakness. If you cut off his hand, he's definitely coming off the pitch. I think one of the big things is if you cut off someone's hand in a game of football, you are going to be sent off. So I've got that going for me. Also, remember, if you've read the book, Sauron is a dominant force in Middle-earth for years. And so, sure, we see him lose his hand in one battle, but we know from the legend that he dominates the game. The game of football / the world of Middle-earth for a very long time. Also, he's got really very loyal fans. Our stands are going to be packed with screaming orcs every session just to have them cheering on the big dude himself. I feel pretty confident that, no one in Harry Potter can step up to that. I mean, if Voldemort is on the other team, I'm interested. But if he's not, I've got no worries at all.
You feel like that they might have played on the same team in their early careers, in their youth team?
Yeah, they grew up together playing for Villains FC, and now they've graduated into their respective franchises. So with Sauron, I think there's few weaknesses apart from the one you pointed out. The question is, who do you partner him with? Who do you put next to Sauron in the middle of the pitch for Lord of the Rings FC? I considered a few options. There's the Witch King, the head of the Nazgul. He's good on the wing because he's got a literal dragon thing that he rides. Aragorn's a big name. However, there's only one option for me. I have gone for Gladriel, the Queen of the Elves of Lothlorien. She's Kate Blanchett in the film. She's all in white. She's beautiful. She's powerful. Right? Gladriel, she can communicate with everyone on her team at the same time telepathically. She can give instructions. She's my captain, right? She's giving instructions left and right. She's got her eye on the ball. She's got her eye on the game. And she can read the intentions and the will of others. You can't get past someone who knows exactly what you're about to do. I'm pumped for Gladriel in the middle of the park. She can see the bloody future, mate. Do you know what I mean? She's graceful. She's precise. Imagine those beautiful arching crosses that she's going to be able to deliver with literally being able to see the future and how everything's going to turn out. It's...
I have a worry, Tom. I have a worry. And my worry is that the manager seems to be pretty keen on Galadriel. I think you said beautiful and graceful about 54 times. I'm a little bit worried about some naughty goings on.
Look, I am a consummate professional. I would never sully my working relationship as the manager of Lord of the Rings FC by trying to get it on with Galadriel. Hey, if I wasn't the manager, maybe I'd approach her in a bar. But I am, and I know what job needs to be done.
Does it not bother you that she's kind of creepy looking? She looks like someone took a pair of hair straighteners to a nightmare.
I think that only plays into one of her strengths, you know?
Yeah, it's off-putting, yeah.
If we're up against a load of kids from Harry Potter, they're not going to want to mess with her. She's creepy. Also, another good thing about her is she always packs lamnas bread for half-time snacks.
That's that bread that fills you up.
Yeah.
So, wait, hey, you can't go into the second half all, like, feeling like a fatty.
No, but so we'll just have a little nibble of lamnas bread. So to really...
Right. A lick, if anything. You just don't want to overdo it.
We're not going to have, like, orange slices. We're going to have tiny cuboids of lamnas bread.
Sounds good.
I really like the image of Shelob and Sauron just being given some lamnas bread at half time. Be like,
Yeah. Yeah, so I was like, could I not eat a hobbit? No, have some bloody lamnas bread.
How is Galadriel affected by the fact that she has one of Sauron's rings?
Look, obviously it's a worry. However, the elves have proved themselves pretty resilient to the power of the rings, and
well, in this case, it could be a positive, of course, because they're playing together.
Yes. Synergy. It's synergy. You know,
synergy. It is synergy.
She's got the power of one of Sauron's rings, and it's a good point. I had forgotten that, but I just think that shows that they've got. Maybe we'll give everyone a ring. You know, we'll give everyone a ring. Shelob can put one on one of her little legs, and Gandalf can have a little toe ring. That would be nice.
It's like in American sports where they get a ring when they win the championships. You're just doing it in advance, assuming that victory will be had.
Exactly. Obviously, there's a bit of dark and light in the middle of the pitch with Galadriel and Sauron playing next to each other. However, I think you need a bit of dark and light. You can't all be one shade.
Yeah, seemingly we have a 1-2-1 formation. We've got a defender, we've got two midfielders. Who are you sticking up top?
There's just no questions here. Obviously, who doesn't miss? Legolas doesn't miss. Legolas the elf. He's a sexy elf boy with the blonde hair. He's played by Orlando Bloom in the films, and he does not miss. He gets the ball. Where's it going? It's going in the back of the net. Plus, that flowing blonde hair, that is shampoo sponsorship deals out the yazoo.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I need to justify Legolas. He's so bloody good at hitting what he wants to hit with anything. And it's not just bow and arrow. If he throws stuff and that hits, he's going to be perfect. Those graceful little elven feet, he can walk on the snow. Do you know what I mean? That is dainty. That is dainty footwork. Legolas is up front, no doubt.
And he has the freedom of leggings.
Yes.
Which, I mean, anyone who's worn leggings, it's just a breath of fresh air. You're just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm naked, but I'm also being held all together. It's much better running around, nimbler.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt, for backing up Legolas with the costume decisions.
It's important. Here, and I back you up on the hair thing as well. He's like someone took hair straighteners to a dream. So there you go.
I'm thinking, I've got two words for you here.
Exactly.
David Ginola.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. He did big Head and Shoulders money back in the day, didn't he, David Ginola?
Oh, it's just so glossy, and I feel that Legolas is going to have that same gloss.
Exactly.
You've got a very sexy kind of vibe going on with Galadriel and Legolas. I guess they're both elves. Very skilled, very talented. It takes a little bit of a turn with Shelob in goal.
Yeah. Shelob and Sauron on the pitch. Like I said, dark and light. And also then Gandalf, who is grey, literally halfway between dark and light. It's perfect team.
As a silver fox goes, I mean, he's up there.
Yeah, handsome. Look, here's the thing about the Lord of the Rings team. Important to note. I have another player that I must talk about. I've got a sub. I've got a super sub. The super sub. On the bench, it is Gwahir, the King of the Eagles.
Sure.
Anyone who's seen Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit will know that any problem, no matter how huge or ultimately desperate looking, can be solved by the sudden application of giant eagles. So, we're 3-0 down. Doesn't matter, mate. The Eagles come on, pick everyone up, throw the balls in the goal. Suddenly it's 4-3. The Eagles fix every problem that Tolkien ever sets up. Why put them on the bench? Because they have to come in at the end to save the day. You can't just start them in. That would be not surprising. The Eagles only work by bringing them on with 3 minutes to go and boom. And hey, if Sauron gets his arm cut off, we're winning.
They're the perennial super subs, really, aren't they?
I just feel that nothing that Harry Potter can throw at me cannot be defeated by Eagles. Thoughts?
That's just a good advert for Eagles.
Yeah, just Eagles in general. Not even giant Eagles. I just mean Eagles. I'm a big fan of Eagles, and I'd like to support them going forward.
It'd be a nice symbol on the uniforms.
Exactly. And assuming the symbol's going to be a ring.
Yeah, with an eagle's head popping
That's
out.
just me. Yeah, all right, with an eagle's head popping out.
Compromise.
Is that not just going to look like a bum pooing an eagle?
Like a shellless eagle birth.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Look, I'm not too worried about what the logo is. I'm worried about winning games. And I think with that team, I'm absolutely going to.
That's fair.
You are the home team, Tom. Where are you playing? I'm interested to see how this might affect the Eagles.
Now, listen up, nerds. I am going to be playing on Pelennor Fields, which is the beautiful open expanse outside Minas Tirith. So, to break it down for you, in the last film, there's that big white city and all the horses charge. That area there, that's Pelennor Fields. Beautiful backdrop, lovely sunny day, right between Mordor and the Men of the West. You know, like I said, right on the border, darkness and light. Pelennor Fields, between Mordor and Minas Tirith. It's perfect, it's beautiful, I'm going to win.
It's a really, really good name for a football stadium.
It really is.
Pelennor Fields? Yeah.
So, Tom, we have the Lord of the Rings team. Just run through it very quickly. What's your lineup?
In goal, it's Shelob. In defence, it's Gandalf. Middle of the park, it's Gladriel and Sauron. And up front, it's Legolas. Don't forget Super Sub Gwahir, King of the Eagles.
It feels very strong. That is the home team, Lord of the Rings. Coming up next, it's Robin with Harry Potter.
A podcast from producerpaul.co.uk.
Here we are. It is time for Robin and his Harry Potter side. Let's kick it off, Robin. Who's your first pick?
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I'm going to also start in goal. It seems to be, a good starting point, good as any. And in goal, I am going for probably my most unusual pick, I think it's fair to say, because rather than taking a wizard or a magical creature, I'm going to take a plant with me, a magical plant. And that plant is going to be the Whomping Willow. Now, for anyone who's read the books or seen the films, that is the huge tree that beats away a car from Hogwarts.
What type of tree is it?
It's an enormous willow, and it's got tiny little whipping branches. It's got massive trunks that can whack bits and pieces away. I just feel like if it can stop a Ford Anglia from hitting a castle, it's got a really good chance to stop a small Nike football. Couple of things to be considered, and I think we covered accessories earlier, but I just want to check. Obviously, personal protective equipment's allowed, isn't it? Like, you're allowed to wear shin pads,
sure,
and mouth guards, sure. So therefore, I'm assuming cricket boxes are totally fine, which is great because the weakness of the Whomping Willow is that they have to have a way to stop it from whomping. How are they going to prune it? How are they going to water it? They need to stop the Whomping Willow from whomping and just make it a willow every now and then. So the way they do that is, and I'm taking book canon here because it's slightly different in the films, but in the book, there is one knot, a little tiny knot in the middle of the tree that when pressed stops the Whomping Willow from whomping. So I'm just going to make it wear a cricket box over that particular little knot.
This is a tree dick we're talking about.
It's like a little tree wiener. Yeah, absolutely. I want to protect it. I don't want it going all limp on me. We've all been there, and it's a nightmare. We don't want that to see that in goal. So I think that's a pretty start. Also, it's a big tree, so it goes quite a long way to making our team carbon neutral.
Will the box not effectively point out the issue that it has? Are you not, like when somebody bandages their arm up before a UFC fight, it's like, go for the arm. Like, as soon as I see that box, I'm thinking Legolas is like, quick, shoot the dick.
It's a really good point. I mean, I'm going to do some camouflaging. I'll get Professor Sprout in, the herbology teacher, to do some good painting, some good bark work on the box. But I really think that also, Legolas can try and shoot the box, but how are you going to do that with all the womping? There's so much womping going on. So that's my goalkeeper. I think the carbon neutral thing's big tree in it, so that's helpful. And in terms of transportation, it's in a really big planter from B&Q. So
right, yeah, I was going to say that the big issue would be that we're great for the first half where he's in the goal, but of course second half he's still going to be planted in the goal. But no, he's on wheels. Well thought out.
He's in a big planter. And then moving in front of the Whomping Willow, I was nervous really because a Whomping Willow is a big Whomping Whomper. So they're all going to be. It's going to be quite a far up defence. It's going to be quite a long way from the goal. I've actually gone for two up at the back, and the first person that I've gone for is George Weasley, who is one of the Weasley brothers. He's one of the two twins. So obviously they're the twins who are the big pranksters. They run a business at the end of the saga, Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, and one of the reasons I'm going for him is he is a twin with his brother Fred. Now, if his legs are tired and he needs to sit down, then Fred can come on and nobody will notice. Now, this trick works on their own mother. Their own mother cannot tell them apart. So I don't believe for a second that somebody else would be able to. Oh, Sauron, he's a big eye. Well, that doesn't matter if they look identical. So I feel pretty good about that. I think that's a foolproof tactic.
I see what you mean about tactic. You are, of course, allowed substitutions. Would you not want somebody who would be tactically different, or you literally want the exact same player, just a bit more energised?
Well, I think the important thing is that this isn't going to be a substitution. This is going to be a bit of trickery. See, obviously they're big pranksters, Fred and George. That's their main thing. They like pranking and creating things. So this is going to be a bit of skullduggery, I think, a little bit of an illegal tactic. But Fred is just going to every now and then swap in for George and swap out for George. So it's going to be a rolling sub, and no one's going to know. Also, listen, good wizards. They are good wizards. For what they do, they're really, really good. Throughout the books and the movies, they're always testing their new pranks, their new things that they're going to do. And I think a couple of them could be really useful. So they've got the puking pastils, which are small little fruit pastel looking things that make you immediately vomit. So, what's that rolling past Gwahir, King of the Eagle? Oh, I'll peck that like a pigeon at a fag butt. Oh, now Gwahir, King of the Eagle's being sick all over the floor. Pretty good. And then all of Gwahir's babies are coming to eat the sick. It's a nightmare over there. Also, extendable ears. That's another thing they invent in, I believe, the fifth book. And these are just things you can plug into your ears, like earpods, that can extend all the way over. So I'm going to be listening to your tactics. I'm going to know what's coming. And finally, like another thing in their favour is they are experienced athletes. They're both on the championship Gryffindor Quidditch side as beaters, which are the most offensive role because you're keeping the bludgers, the sort of homing missile balls, away from the team members. So I reckon the clearance is going to be really good from them. Would you not agree, Sam?
I'm mainly interested in spiking the lamnas bread with some of these puking pills. Like, we've already discussed how Sauron is going to be chewing on his lamnas bread, and I like the idea of him sicking up from his fiery eye.
Yeah, well, there we go. So that's going to be the Weasleys. I did think, of course, the whole Weasley family is a great wizarding family, but they were the ones that really appealed to me. And sort of related to that is my second defender. So I am going for a bit of a more defensive formation than Tom is, which I am concerned about. But listen, you've got to do it. Now, this person is her name is Fleur Delacour. Now, for those of you who aren't super nerdy about Harry Potter like I am, Fleur is in the fourth book when they do the Tri-Wizard tournament and there are multiple wizards coming from all over the world. Fleur is the French one who is chosen to represent the entire school of Beauxbaton in the Tri-Wizard tournament. Now, the important thing about Fleur Delacour is, well, first of all, she's obviously a great witch. In order to get that lofty honour, she's obviously very, very good. She's the best in the school in France, which is amazing. But more importantly, she is part Veela. Now, Veela are effectively beautiful, beautiful, beautiful women who can distract men by how gorgeous they are. You see them in the Quidditch World Cup. Now, Ron, for instance, in the books, cannot talk to Fleur because of how attractive she is. So she is coming in to play the horn dog defense.
Yeah, I understand this tactic. It's cursed me all my life being Veela.
Yeah.
And I understand how difficult it is for people to talk to me. So I think this is very, very sensible.
Yeah, and it's another good reason for the Whomping Willow to hide his Whomping Willy.
Exactly that.
That little twig is going to turn into a hulking trunk, isn't it?
Oh, no.
Kids books.
Listen. She's a hottie. It's going to be good. Also, Vila can famously lose their temper. Like they get cross, they get sassy, and so I'm looking forward to seeing that. There is a con with Fleur, which I am worried about. She is French, and I am worried about the work permit situation post Brexit. It's something I am concerned about, but I think we'll probably get through that. Elite athletes, they're being able to get their permit still. So that's my defence. It's the Weasley twins coupled.
Interested
with,
about some of her
Fleur.
weaknesses. Like, she's very attached to her younger sibling. I feel that Sauron might get some Uruk-hai to kidnap her, and she'll be sad.
She would be, yeah. Well, the only time you ever see her really angry is when she thinks that some stuff is happening to her family. So both her sister and also later in the books when, spoiler alert, she marries Bill Weasley and he becomes a werewolf and she is furious. So I think I appreciate that could be an emotional response, but I think you can use that rage. I think you can really use that to your benefit. Yeah, exactly. But if it all fails, she's super hot. So,
so what else
the
matters?
Horn Dog defense is the Horn Dog defense.
We've got Delacour and Galadriel in this game, and it's big beans.
Yeah, I tell you what, I am buying the match day program for this one. Let me tell you. So then midfield. This is where my captain is playing. She is the brains of this operation, and obviously in a Harry Potter book, what is a Harry Potter book without one of the three? Without Ron, Harry, or Hermione, or indeed more. Now, I went through them. I decided that Harry's had enough. He's been busy. He's got a lot on his plate. I'm sick of him. He's done enough. He's going to be the team mascot for merchandising purposes, but he's not going to be a game player. My captain is going to be Hermione Granger, who is undoubtedly the brains of the Harry Potter trio. She is an absolute boss. She gets it done. I didn't choose Ron to play alongside her because they then go on to marry, and I can't have that. I can't have. We've already got the sexual tension with Fleur. I can't have Hermione, looking at Ron's glistening, throbbing calves the whole way through the game. She doesn't need the distraction.
Oh.
She doesn't need it. And this is a podcast, so none of you know this, but I am a ginger man, and all I can say is we have wonderful calves. So she's a boss. She gets things done. She's also, importantly, Muggle-born. So she is a non-wizarding family background, which means that she will understand the essentials of football, right? It's really important, I think, because all the way through the Harry Potter saga, they're not good at understanding Muggle stuff. A good example of this is Arthur Weasley, who is the dad of Ron Weasley and the twins and stuff. His literal job is working in the misuse of Muggle artifact offices, and he loses his freaking mind when he sees a plug. Okay, so they're not good at knowing about stuff. So I feel like having Hermione an understanding of the football game there, and also she's just a badass, man. She gets stuff done. She knows stuff. Tactically incredibly sound. Great bushy locks. That's my midfielder.
Yeah, I think you're right. She's smart. She'd be very, very tactically aware. I think she'd also be incredibly good at researching the opposition. I think you've really got. I think she could be a good player assistant manager, double up here. She'd be very good at researching the opposition. She'd be in the library. She'd be watching tape of previous games of the opponents.
That's right. I wouldn't want to put her in the team unless she had the captain's armband. I think that she would struggle to take orders from somebody else. But if she's giving it, I think she'd be great. And obviously, if we're allowed a horse, I'm assuming we're allowed wands.
Of course.
We happy with that? So she's an amazing witch.
I think that's a direct correlation between the two, isn't it? In Lord of the Rings, a horse. In Harry Potter, a wand. They're the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm happy with that.
One horse equals one wand. Yeah, sure. So there we go. So that's going to be my Hermione captain in the middle of the park. And my attacker. Now, this was tricky, I really thought about quite a few different people. I thought about Hagrid. He's just a big lump who can stand up front and nut it in, but he's not especially mobile, right? He's half giant. I thought about a centaur, perhaps. A centaur, they famously have quite good sort of divination powers. They can see into the future. That would be useful for an attacker, but famously can only kick backwards, which isn't ideal for an attacker. And so I am Denard, and I thought about it, and I've decided to go with one of the ghosts of Hogwarts. Specifically, I'm going for the only one who can lift up things, and that is Peeves the Poltergeist. Okay? All the others can't pick anything up, but Peeves, being a poltergeist, can pick anything up. He throws a chandelier at one point. So that's great. Now, Peeves is famously tricky. He's tricksy. He doesn't really listen to anybody. except for Fred and George, who he respects as sort of co-mischief makers. So there is a section in the books when they leave, as Fred and George leave Hogwarts, that he wishes that Peeves continues their work for them. So I'm not worried about his sort of flighty nature as such. And it's going to be some fun mischief. There's every chance that he might loosen up the goalposts whilst no one's looking. Maybe even invisible. I know he can turn invisible. Loosen up the goalpost, then they fall over, crush the spider. That's going to be great. Also, when you walk through a ghost, it's not very nice. They're very cold and wet, apparently. So, you know that old saying, like, you think you could do it on a cold Tuesday in Burnley? Well, my team, the saying is, you think you could do it on a cold Tuesday inside Peeves.
And that's your main strategic point. He can physically pick up things, not entirely unlike all alive people, and and he can make people a bit cold and wet.
Also,
well, he can't.
You know, in football, you can't pick things up. That's one of the few rules football has: is don't pick it up.
Well, he can pick things up with his feet, and he can fly. Like ghosts can fly. I should have mentioned that. That feels like quite an important practical thing about ghosts is that he can fly. So yeah, he can be floating around. I just thought that the coldness is just a kind of a useful little bit of defensive play from the top. I know that he's an attacker, but I think it's nice to have an attacker who can double up sometimes, a bit of a defensive midfielder if needed, if situation calls for it.
Why is he the striker? So the mischief, he's creating mischief. I'm worried he's not actually caring about the game. He's just mucking about, picking up goalposts, knocking over water bottles or something. Why is he the striker for Harry Potter team? How is he getting goals?
I'll tell you, in the books and he doesn't actually make it into the film, sadly. He's in one film, but in the books, he's really known for pelting people with things. So like cakes and nuts and stones and things like that. And he just throws it. He's really accurate. Like he's always forever hitting Neville Longbottom in the eye. So he's very, very accurate. So that's my main reason is his target practice throughout 7 years at Hogwarts has been really, really strong. Part of the reason that he's up front, though, is because Hermione is there, sort of. If he's mucking about too much, then Hermione is able to step up and also try and get some goals. What do you think, Matt?
I think it's good. Yeah, I do understand why stoning people in the eye will get you cut out of a movie.
yeah. He was played by Rick Mayall in the movies for the one thing he was there. It was very, very funny. He's also loves songs, so I can imagine some good chants. He does little rhyming couplets all the time. So, for instance, I thought maybe Peevesy Weezy, you poor dead soul, don't look now, it's in your goal! Pretty good stuff there. Pretty good stuff. Yes. And yeah, so that's my attacker. And then also, much like Tom, I have a super sub. And my super sub is the basilisk from the Chamber of Secrets. So that is a big snake. It's actually also a mythical beast, like a real mythical beast. But in Harry Potter, it's the big snake owned by Salazar Slytherin. It's like, we're talking like a 200-foot snake. The reason it's my super sub is if it looks at you, you die. And that feels like a pretty good thing to have.
Yeah,
you want to put him forward.
Yeah. He's very much, if things are going very badly, and if you look at him through something, so like water or through a ghost, importantly, then you get petrified, but you don't die. So my team's tactic, if it comes to it and we need the basilisk, everybody runs to the corner, hides behind Peeves and closes their eyes. So in case anything happens, and then the basilisk just comes out, just staring at everyone, just having a little look. How is Sauron going to look away? He's literally just an eye.
It's genius. That actually makes sense to me. Of all the ideas, that's the best footballing tactic I've heard. Look through someone wet.
He's on the bench, presumably because he's quite difficult to summon. There's very few people that can actually get him to play. So how are you getting him onto the pitch?
I'm glad you asked. There is a segment in the books when Ron and Hermione have to go to the Chamber of Secrets without Harry, and they've listened to enough Harry Parseltongue, which is the snake language, that they can do it. So they open the Chamber of Secrets themselves. So my idea is that Hermione will be able to summon, but it's a very good point. Maybe just lie a Muggleborn on the field and then let the basilisk have it.
There's so much riding on Hermione. I worry that if Hermione gets injured, this team might fall around her, because you said that Peeves is going to listen to her. The basilisk can only come on with her. It's there's a lot riding on her health.
You can injure her body, Sam, but you cannot injure her brain, and that's the reason she's there.
That's very beautiful. Very beautiful.
There we go. We have both teams. Robin, very quick run through of who has made your 5.
It's the Whomping Willow in goal. It's George and sometimes Fred Weasley in defence with Fleur Delacour. It's Hermione Granger in the middle of the park, and up front it's Peeves the Poltergeist with the Basilisk on the bench.
And that is the Harry Potter team. We have both teams, Lord of the Rings versus Harry Potter. Let's see how the managers feel about the upcoming match. Tom, how do you feel after hearing Robin's team?
I've got to be honest, Sam, I feel pretty confident. It's 3 children, a tree, and a dead person against 5 ancient, powerful beings with wisdom and power beyond the reckoning of these foolish children. Honestly, I'm kind of laughing my way to victory already.
This is the kind of thing we would love to see in real football press conferences. This kind of confidence. Robin, how does that make you feel?
A bit hurt, a little bit upset about it, but I feel good. I feel like the exact reason that Tom just gave. Yeah, I've got a young team. I've got a young, hungry team. Tom's got on a team of old men and women and a tower with an eye on top. I'm not worried.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the last we'll hear from the managers, because now it is time for kick-off.
Welcome to Pelennor Fields for today's fixture, Lord of the Rings versus Harry Potter.
It's a beautiful day and the players are out warming up. Of course, all their eyes closed so they don't die looking at the basilisk doing his stretches.
Gandalf, practicing his dead ball, has his eyes closed and has accidentally punted one of Gwahir's eggs.
And there's the whistle for kickoff. Early on, the Dark Lord Sauron swinging his big scary sword blindly, and he's made beautiful contact with the ball there.
It's out to Legolas, prancing up the wing. He slides it to Galadriel, who enchants the ball and shows it a dark future that may befall it. But George Weasley intercepts. Is this the dark future we were expecting?
George with the ball passes it long to George Weasley. How did he get there so quick? He plays a 1-2 with himself. George Weasley whips the ball into the box for George Weasley to nod past Shelob. He takes the assist and the goal and all of the build-up play. It's 1-0 to Team Harry Potter.
On to Gandalf, who bursts through the defence atop Shadowfax, but Weasley has left a mysterious-looking polo from his shop, which the horse has stopped to eat. Oh no, it's made Shadowfax defecate all over the pitch, and the Lord of the Rings team are asking if anyone has a broom.
And that's the whistle for half-time. We can see McGonagall and Aragorn watching from the VIP box, and a family of field mice resting in the Whomping Willows.
Harry Potter and Lord Voldemort also looking from the stands, wondering why they didn't make the match day squad.
And as we kick off, Galadriel and Fleur Delacour are both just staring at each other in the middle of the park. Transfixed by each other's beauty, they've effectively stopped playing.
Speaking of beauty, Legolas is making a run up the wing with nothing but Peeves the Ghost in his path. Legolas passes straight through Peeves and oh no! Oh, he's gone briefly damp. Oh, the ghost was too moist for him and Legolas's hair is frizzing up as we speak. This is a huge blow to his focus and he's lost the ball to Hermione.
Hermione is pulling the strings. That is a worry for Shelob. Sauron staring Hermione down with his evil, unblinking eye. How will she retaliate?
Well, Hermione has clearly been practicing the dark arts, so she now severs the Dark Lord Sauron's hand off with a playful spell. Well, he looks absolutely stumped.
Gandalf suspiciously whispering to a moth who looks to relay a message to the eagles on the bench just meters away.
Grahir, king of the Eagles, receives the message but waits until the last moment to act on it. Finally, subbing on and pecking out the basilisk's eyes on the bench.
Fleur Delacour, Legolas and Galadriel all in the corner signing a contract for Rimmel London.
Team Harry Potter 1-0 up in the closing seconds here. But wait! Gwahir swoops in from on high with 2 balls clutched in his talons. Oh, he shoots one. It's in! He shoots another. It's in! Oh, and he shoots a third. Now, that one didn't come from his hands and may in fact have been an egg, but it doesn't matter because it's a hat-trick clinching a victory for the talented Lord of the Rings FC. Oh, right at the death.
And that's it! It's 3-1 to the Lord of the Rings team as they pick up the victory here today at home against Harry Potter. What a game that was. Let's go over to the managers. A huge win for Lord of the Rings, managed by Tom. How are we feeling, Tom?
I'm feeling delighted. Very happy to get the late hat-trick. Like I said, Eagles, bring them in. They're gonna win.
It's a great motto. And how are you taking the loss, Robin?
Do you know what? Hopeful. It's a hopeful loss for Harry Potter, I think. A young side that showed a great deal of resilience until the very end there. Really, I take the blame as the manager. Should have thought about a flying threat.
Indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the close of today's Fantasy 5. Don't forget to subscribe and to review the show if you have enjoyed it. If you haven't enjoyed it, then, shut up. You can also check us out on all of the socials at Noise Next Door.
And tune in next time when we have Team Pixar, characters from the Pixar films, versus Pokemon.
Going to be a big one. We'll see you next time. And now we're off to hit the showers.
Oh, sacred bleu, Miss Galadriel, your hair is so beautiful and long and luscious. Tell me now, what is your secret?
Galadriel, because I'm worth it.